You know, everyone thinks gold is the ultimate safe haven when things go sideways. It's what we're all taught, right? But what if I told you that in a real, total collapse, a handful of cheap lighters could be worth way more than a gold necklace? Let's get into it, because the documented reality of what happens when an economy fails is a whole different story than the one you've heard.
Okay, I want you to picture this for a second. It's Sarajevo, 1993. The city is under siege. Your neighbor, who used to be a well-off banker, comes to you, and he's desperate. He's trying to trade you his family's gold necklace, not for a bag of rice, not for medicine, but for a single pack of cigarettes and 3 Bic lighters. This isn't some made-up story. This is the documented reality for a guy named Selko Begovic, who survived it all for over a year. That gold, it was basically useless, but those lighters, man, they meant fire. They meant cooked food, warmth, they meant survival.
So that really brings us to the core question we're tackling today. Why does this asset prized for thousands of years suddenly become worthless the moment it's supposed to matter most? We're going to really dig in and look at the hard evidence from actual economic collapses to see what really holds value when the whole system just breaks down.
All right, let's start by shattering this gold illusion. Because when you look at every modern economic collapse, you see the same clear, repeating pattern, where traditional safe havens like gold and even cash just completely and utterly fail people. The first thing you notice is just the incredible speed of it all. Take Bosnia. One day you have a totally normal, money-based economy, but within just 3 months, not years, months, it's a pure barter system. And get this, in only 4 weeks, prices had already multiplied 100 times over. It happens faster than anyone can imagine. And Bosnia wasn't a one-off, not even close. In Venezuela, inflation peaked at an absolutely mind-bending 1,000,000%. Can you even wrap your head around that number? Their currency, the bolivar, became so worthless they called it the bolivar muerto, the dead bolivar. The government literally gave people 72 hours to exchange their entire life savings before declaring the bills just worthless paper. And this is what that actually looks like on the ground. When money dies, economies just go back to basics. They revert to barter, where the only thing that matters is direct, practical use. A Venezuelan fisherman said it perfectly. Money doesn't buy anything, so it's better for people to bring food so we can give them fish. We saw the exact same pattern in Argentina from '98 to 2002. It's a predictable and absolutely devastating sequence of events.
So, if cash becomes paper and gold becomes a paperweight for immediate survival needs, what becomes the real currency in a collapse? Well, the answer is simple: undeniable utility.
I mean, just look at this stark contrast. You can't eat a gold coin, right? It's not going to purify your water. It definitely can't treat an infected wound that could literally kill you. A bottle of antibiotics, though, it does one thing and it does it perfectly. It saves a life. Now, in a world with no working pharmacies, which one do you think has more immediate, real-world value?
And this insight from Selko, the survivor from Sarajevo, is just so profound. Why would 1,000 cheap lighters be better than a big, expensive generator? Well, think about it. A generator is loud. It's basically a giant beacon for thieves. It needs fuel, which is going to be impossible to find, and it needs maintenance. Lighters, on the other hand, they're silent, they're portable, you can hide them anywhere, and they provide that absolute non-negotiable necessity, fire. It's all about practical, low-risk utility.
You know, it's not just about goods either. It's about what you can do. During the Great Depression, people didn't survive because of their stock portfolios. They survived on practical skills. Could you fix a broken tool? Could you mend clothes for your family? Preserve food? Butcher an animal? Each one of those skills is a form of capital that no market crash can ever take away from you.
So how do we actually tie all of these historical lessons together into a strategy that works for real-world security? This is where we introduce a really powerful concept I call the Amish hedge.
The Amish hedge is basically a framework that completely shifts your focus. Instead of passive assets that depend on a functioning system, like stocks or gold, you build a diversified portfolio of things that produce value directly. It all comes down to what you can make, what you can grow, and who you can trust.
Here are the 4 pillars that make it all work. You've got productive land, and that can be as simple as a small garden that provides food. You have practical skills, which is basically income that can't be stolen. Then you have tangible goods, things like tools and lighters that become your currency for barter. And finally, and this one is crucial, community networks. Those are your support system, your local economy, when all the formal systems are gone.
And look, if you think this is all just some abstract theory,
Check out the data. Look at the 2008 financial crisis. The S&P 500 was in an absolute freefall, but the value of U.S. farmland, it actually increased by 17%. Why? Simple, because land produces food and income no matter what Wall Street is doing. It's a real anchor of value.
This next number is just stunning. A massive meta-analysis of multiple studies found that people with strong social relationships have a 50% increased likelihood of survival. That is a bigger impact on your longevity than quitting smoking. Think about that. Your community, the trust you've built with your neighbors, it is literally a life-saving asset. Social capital is survival capital.
Okay, so we've covered the what and the why. Now let's get into the how. Here's a simple 5-step blueprint for building your very own real hedge against uncertainty. 1. Start with productive land, even if it's just a few vegetable planters on your patio. 2. Develop practical skills, anything from basic repair to first aid. 3. Slowly accumulate useful practical goods, tools, lighters, medical supplies. 4. Actively build real relationships in your community. Go meet your neighbors. And now, notice step 5. Precious metals are dead last. They're not for surviving during the chaos. They're for potential use after things have stabilized. They're an option, not a foundation.
So if there's just one thing you take away from all of this, let it be this. When the abstract system of money completely breaks down, value always reverts to the tangible. Your ability to do things, to grow things, and to trust people, that becomes your true wealth.
And that really leaves us with one final question to think about. In our modern world of fiat currency, money that's backed by nothing tangible, just faith in the system, what are you truly hedged with? Is your security built on numbers on a screen, or is it built on something real?